Hello, we are finally back, and today we'll go over our first project in our 12 projects for 2024 series. As you can see, we are in a Google document with a project proposal. Let's begin. GitHub Pages website, 2024, first month, 27th day. Let us go over the overview. GitHub is a developer platform that allows developers to create, store, manage, and share their code. It uses Git, which is an open source version control system. This means that when developers make changes to the code, these changes are stored in a central repository. On the other hand, GitHub Pages is a static site hosting service that takes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files straight from a repository on GitHub, optionally runs these files through a build process, and publishes a website. You can use GitHub Pages to host a website about yourself, your organization, or your project directly from a repository on github.com. You can host your site on GitHub's github.io domain or your own custom domain. There are 3 types of GitHub pages: that being project, user, and organization. Typo. You get 1 site per GitHub account and organization, and unlimited project sites. We will be creating a user site which will be accessed via a URL of the following nature. It will be username.github.io, where the username is the name of your GitHub account. As you can see, I already have a GitHub account, and this is my name up here, same as my YouTube name. So to access it, all I will have to do is copy this name into my URL search bar and type .github.io to access my site. So let's go over our goals. But first, I need some coffee. My coffee attempted to attack me. It did not succeed. Alright, goals. So step 1, create a GitHub account. So if you haven't already, create a GitHub account and ensure that the name that you use is a name you're comfortable as having as a website name. So if I go here and if I do the powerfulprogrammer.github.io, there we go. Same as my profile name, the powerfulprogrammer.github.io. This is the site with everything working. So ensure that your GitHub account name is a name you're comfortable using as a website name. Step 2. You'll create a new repository called username.github.io. Now, of course, do not use the left and right tag, and ensure your username is the same as your profile name. So let's go here. Let me go to my repositories. Turns out I was there. And let's see, where is it? Past it. Here we go. This is how your website should be named. Your username.github.io. That is how your repository should be named. After doing that, you should now have a new empty repository. We can either open it on VS Code and start creating a web page, or we can go to some other location and create an empty .html file. Let me show you what I mean. If you're on GitHub and you hit the stop button, the dot button, or the full stop button, it will open up an online version of VS Code, which you can use to edit in. That should take a while to load. But yep, as you can see, it opens it up here, and you can do whatever you want. We will not be using that approach. Instead, we will do the following. Navigate to your desktop and create a new folder. I will call it my website. You can call it whatever you want. Within that folder, create a new file. I will call mine mysite.html. I already have it here, as you can see, my website. I open it, and I have my site.html. If you have a code editor installed, you can right click to bring up options. You can go open with, and you can choose your code editor or another app of your choice. In my case, I have Visual Studio Code. And so here is the file here. Obviously, it's already been done, but we'll start from scratch again. It's all done. So I'll leave that open. By now, you should have created a folder on your desktop and created a new empty.html file. Let me call mine example.html. Let's go back to our goals to figure out what it is we're doing. So we did miss a step. Do you even have a code editor? If not, navigate to VS Code and download it, or go back to your GitHub account, navigate to your newly located repository, and hit the dot button. As I said, this will open up an online editor that you can use. You should now have your .html file. Because I have a few cool extensions installed, I can do something like this. Right, so if I hit the shift and the 1 key, which will bring up the exclamation mark, and if I then hit tab, I get this boilerplate. Obviously, you can build it from scratch if you have not done any HTML before. So we have a left tag, we have an exclamation mark, and we'll type doctype HTML, and we'll close that. We'll then create another tag, HTML, and we'll pass in language equal to English, so EN. You'll then create another tag, we will call it head, and it will close. Within that head, we will create a meta tag with a char set equal to UTF-8, and we will close that. As you can see, all I'm doing here is creating the same thing we have above. So if you aren't comfortable, you can just copy everything that's here and type it out into your .html file. I'll give you a few seconds. You should now have an HTML file that is only populated with the following information. If you don't understand it, that's fine. This video will not extensively go over HTML. You can watch another video for that. Or you can just do this. Imagine you are writing an essay, and the following are just requirements for your essay. It makes things seem a little better, stand out a bit more, and it makes accessing your website on various devices a little easier. Now, let's go back to goals. Step 5. We will navigate to Get Started with Bootstrap. So I will, hopefully I remember, I will post the link in the comments and description below. So if you navigate to the site, here we go. All we are going to do now is install, or should I say, we shall link Bootstrap to make building our website a lot easier. Let's just copy this here. So we start on top. We don't copy the first one. The second one, which says include Bootstrap, CSS, and JavaScript, we will copy that one. We shall just copy it, copy to clipboard. We will do a Control A and we will Control V. Let's just have some site. This is our, I'll create a comment, Bootstrap, JavaScript, Bootstrap, CSS. Save everything. Now, if we navigate back to the folder that we were using, all we can do now is just double click on our website and boom, everything should be running. We get back the input, or should I say the output, hello world. By copying that data, we now have access to Bootstrap, which will allow us to build a responsive website. We can write CSS in a separate file and reference it in our HTML file. But a large number of our styling, that means CSS and JavaScript, will be handled by Bootstrap. And that which will not be handled will be in the file itself. we will now create a basic template that we can use. So let's go back to our HTML file. Let's get rid of this H1. The first thing I want our site to have is some sort of navigation bar. This is typically called a nav bar. Now, I can type this out in full, and you probably won't understand anything. Instead, let's go back here, and let us look at goal 10, which says navigate to the following link. Let's click on it, close that, I'll leave that. And we should be on this page, which is get bootstrapped components navbar. And this is what we are looking for. We could type this out. You wouldn't understand much, or we can just do the following. We can go and we can copy to clipboard, and we can come down here. Then we shall go into our body, and we will just paste. And if we save everything, and we go back to our website, and we reload using F5, look, we now have a navigation bar, and it's fully responsive, which is the beauty of Bootstrap. Notice at our largest width, it looks like this, the appearance, but as we start to shrink, at some point it breaks down into a collapsible navigation on the right-hand corner. Fully responsive, all done by Bootstrap, and we did not have to do anything. Isn't that just efficient? Now obviously there's a lot more in this navigation bar that we do not need, and some things that we do need that aren't present. So let's actually go ahead and modify this code quite a bit. The first thing we'll do is we will get rid of this form that says search. We will get rid of that. We will then get rid of this unordered list. Do I need to get rid of the entire list? Let me see. Nope, I can come down to this list item. I can get rid of this one that says disabled. And I can get rid of this one that is a dropdown. And now if I save everything, I should only have my nav bar, my home, and my link. If I save that, go back to my site, and I hit F5, there we go. Nav bar, home, link. And I will sip on some coffee. I hope you can bear with me. I burnt my hand earlier this morning, so now my coding is a little hard as I cannot rest my arm on my desk. Let's go back to our file and let's adjust things a bit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to navigate to where it says navbar, and we're just going to delete everything. This will simply say, let's go with home, and we will call this one, we'll change home into link 1, we'll change link into link 2. We go back to our website, save everything, and hit F5. Okay, great, our changes appeared. We'll now start doing some more minute changes. The first thing we're going to do is, notice where it says navbar up here in the class. Where it says navbar light, we will change it to navbar dark. And we will change background light to background dark. We will then come down here where it says nav link, so here, and we shall also use active. We will save everything, go back to our file, reload it, and boom, we change the appearance. It stands out a lot more. And if you are wondering, yes, it is still completely responsive. We will come back here, and something else we will do, we will try to push all our links to the right-hand side. To do this, I forget if it's ME Auto or MS Auto. If you go to your UL, so unordered list, if you go here where it says MS Auto, if we remove from ME Auto and we will change it to MS Auto, we will save our file. We will go back here, we will reload, and okay, great. Now notice it looks neater. We have home on our left hand corner and 2 links in our right hand corner. And if we wanted, we could see that our site is still responsive. So at some point, when the screen gets too small, it'll break down into this hamburger icon that functions as a drop-down. Now, let me show you something that you probably aren't familiar with. If you navigate to your settings, or in my case, you go to more tools, there'll be something called developer tools. And notice this, we can actually change what the output of our screen looks like. In this case, I have it set as Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. So this is what our site will look like on a Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. Let me try to get rid of this. There we go. Let's do a different one. Let us do iPad Pro. This is how our website would look on an iPad Pro. That's cool. If you are using Bing, you can do Control-Shift-I, and it will also bring up your developer tools. Let's go back to our website. We now have a working navigation bar, which is great. We will change some things. This tag is called an A tag. It is used for links. Where it says hashtag or the pound sign, we will remove it. And we will type in whatever our website is called. So in my case, example.html. We will save it. So now we come back to our website. We reload using F5. If we hit this again, you may not see it, but our website is reloading. This means that our link is working. I'll show you an example. Let's go to a different one. Let me go up here. Let me copy this. If I copy that, and if I put it under the link 1, if I navigate to the A tag and I change it to this, and if I save, and if I go back to my website, which is here, and I reload, and if I hit link 1, it changes us to that website. Let's go back to our website, and now we will add something additional. We shall call it target_blank. So now, when we navigate back to our website, we reload, and we click link 1, what we will get is that Bootstrap website opening, but in its own tab. Notice, it is now in its own tab. And we accomplish this by passing in the target attribute and assigning it the value of _blank. But for now, we will just change it back into something, which is just a pound sign. Just that. Let's ask ourselves. We know that our left-hand corner has the word home, which acts as a link to the site, which is great. What is the next link that we can use? Something that we can replace link 1 with. Because you already created a GitHub account, which is required for this project, why don't we have our first link be a means to access our GitHub? So you'll change the wording to GitHub. We'll navigate to wherever our GitHub is, and we shall copy the link, the URL, I should say. So in my case, I just come here and I copy that. And if I go here, wrong place. If I go here and I go to where it says href and I change the value from a pound sign to the following, and if I save, and if I navigate back to my website, and if I reload by pressing F5, notice it changed to GitHub, and if I click on it, it brings up my GitHub. That's great. We're building something from nothing. What about our second link? This one, I will leave it as it is. You can fill it in with whatever you want. Maybe you want it to be a social media link, so you can let me just change it to social. And you can add in here whatever link you want. Let's say your Instagram or your Twitter, well, in this case, your X, whatever you want to change that to. But for now, because I do not want to do that, I will leave it as the pound sign. Okay, great. We have a navigation. What else do we need? Let us now create another widget, And because I don't remember what it was, let's navigate back to our document. Okay, so our template will consist of a navigation bar, a jumbotron, and a footer. Okay, so we need a jumbotron. So let us go to here. We'll create a jumbotron. This we will code the entire thing because it's much more intuitive to understand. But if you do not understand, all you can do is navigate back to the document, go to goal 12 and click on the link, and it will bring you to the Bootstrap Jumbotron section, and you can read up on everything. It's very simple, as you can see, just a few lines, and it's explained right here. And a little more explained around here. But I don't need it, so I will close those, go back to the website. I will drop down, or should I say I will hide my navigation, or minimize it, sounds better, and I will do the following. Again, I have some cool extensions installed, so I can do something like div.container, and it will create a div with the class container. You are probably going to have to type out div, pass in class, and then give it the value of container, then close that tag and create your other tag. But yeah, it's the same thing, so nothing to worry about. If you're unsure where to find extensions, right here, extensions. You will click there and you will find extensions that you will use. So within this container div, I'll create another div. It will be done this way, so div class equals to row. I'll then close my tag and it will create the closing div for me. That's great, but now I will start using the shorthands. So first let me give you some explanation. So this is our jumbotron. You can think of it as our introduction section. Container acts as a means to separate our HTML from other HTML and acts as a container for our HTML. A row, you can think of a row. I'm sure you know what a row is, something that extends, so here that's a row. You can think of the row as, so imagine, what happened there? Imagine one row extending the entire width of the web page that can be split into 12 columns max. Columns. So within our container, within our row, we'll create another div and we will give it the class of dot jumbotron, and we get that. Within the class, you'll add a few more things. We will add my4 to give us some margin. We'll pass in text white, background dark, rounded, and P3 for padding. We'll also add an ID, which we'll get to later, and we'll pass in about. Within our Jumbotron, we'll pass in a h1 tag with the class of lead. We'll add something else. We will add P1 for later use. And we'll just type something in. Let's type in greetings. I am the emperor. E-M-P-E-R-O-R. Emperor of the Galactic Empire. Okay, cool. We'll create another h1 dot lead, and we'll pass in p2 for later use. And we'll just say I am with some space. We'll end that. We'll create an h2 with a class of display 3. So this display 3 is a Bootstrap class that changes the appearance of our text. We'll pass in text uppercase, and as it sounds, that what it does, it will transform whatever text appears within the h2 tags into an uppercase form of text. We will also pass in name for later use. Darth Sidious. Save that. We'll do an h2.display 3 again. We'll also pass in text uppercase and personal for later use. I build software. Okay, that's cool. Let's save everything. Navigate back to our site. Refresh. And hey, look, we have something else that popped up. So we had our navigation bar. Now we have this rectangular looking thing called a Jumbotron. Within it, we have some text. Greetings, I am the Emperor of the Galactic Empire. I am Darth Sidious. I build software. And I need coffee. We'll then come down here back to our VS Code. After that H2, we'll pass in a break just so we have more space. We'll create a paragraph with a class of lead. Now, let us just type something. So, Darth Sidious was a Sith Lord who sought to overthrow the Jedi Order. And I do not want to type anymore, so I will go back to the finished site. I will navigate down here. And I will just copy this. Is it cheating? Maybe. What are you going to do about it? I will copy that. I will go back here. And I will paste it in. And this is what it should look like. So within that class, we have this first sentence. We have a break. We have this second sentence, a break. This third sentence, which has a span class of end. We will get to that when the need comes. With the word from Sidious' wrath. From Sidious's wrath. That's actually wrong. From Sidious's wrath. Alright. We save everything. So you obviously have to type this out yourself. Save everything. Navigate back to our website and press F5. And boom, our Jumbotron's growing and it looks a little better. Now, we did not follow goal 10, goal 11, which says navigate to coolers.co. Let us copy this. Let us go to a URL and paste it in and hit enter. There we go. And then this is where you should be. We'll start so coolers.co, start the generator. And here it is. Now watch this. If you just hit the space bar, look at that. A very simple way for us to create a color palette. Let's say you find a color you like. So let's keep on going. Okay, let's go with eerie black. Let's say I like this color. I just lock it in. And now when I hit spacebar, the other colors will change. Let's say I like eerie black and okay, raspberry looks good, so I'll lock in raspberry as well. And I'll hit space. And as you can see, my website color palette is coming alive. I will take in Celadon and Khaki. And now only the first one changes. And you can actually remove it if you're okay with 4, and there you go. Now, I already have a color palette. Right here, this is the color palette that I will be using, so I will copy it. Go to my example, and I will put it up here. So I will create a style tag. And just below that, I will do that. And this is the colors that I will be using. Black, mint, which is a shade of green, rojo, which is a shade of red, ghost white, which is a shade of white, and pale purple, which is a shade of purple. And just to show you, this is what our inside should look like. There we go. Home, GitHub, link. Oh, also we should build this. Look at that. That's cool, isn't it? And all of this, that also changes. A very simple website. A very cool looking website. Functional, because again, if I do Control Shift I, it scales down to the device in question. Okay, great. So this is what we are trying to build. If you do not like this color palette, that's completely okay. As I said, go to coolers.co and you can create your own color palette by just pressing the spacebar. This is our end goal that we will turn this into. Except the fonts, because the fonts, I don't want to go looking for all of that again. So I'll just leave it up there. I will go back to VS Code. I will go to my example of HTML or whatever you named your file, and we will continue to edit this. So just below that, I will create a tag. The href, I'll keep it blank, and it will have a class of button, so btn, then button outline, I believe, and then success. So by adding success, it'll turn the button green, and the button must appear large. And we'll add some margin, so my 3, and I will add something called contact link for later use. I will also pass in a target blank. Right now we have no link, but if you do decide to give it a link, this will ensure that it does not change our current web page, but instead creates a new tab. Join the dark side. Navigate back to our website, hit F5, and cool, look at that. It looks cool. This color is not nice, but hey, it looks cool. Our website's growing, very simple, very elegant. Now, let us go to our style tag. This is where we create CSS in our file. So this, okay, so handles the CSS. I forget how to comment in CSS. Is it this? That? Ugh, never mind. But yep, anyway, style is where we create our CSS. So the first thing we are going to do is, let's go back to our navbar. We notice that here in our navbar, we have all of these classes everywhere. Class, 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 class. Notice where our A tags are, here and here. They both have a class of navlink. It just happens to be that to access a particular class in our CSS, all we do is hit dot and we type in the class name. In this case, navlink. I will then use the following, colon, and say hover. And then I can do something like this. I can create a border bottom of say 2 pixels in size and solid. And I can go border bottom color. And I can go # E3 D3 E4, I believe. That should be right. I shall save my file. And before I go on, I will check and make sure I am recording. I am. Okay, that's great. Come back here, reload our file, and it seems as though nothing happened. If I hover over home, nothing happens, but as I move to the right, look at that. When I hover over these 2 links, I get this really cool animation, it would seem, that creates this line below our links. And what we are doing is we are hovering. What are we hovering over? We are hovering over 2 nav links. To hover means to take your cursor and move it over something like this. See, this one also has a hover effect that comes preloaded with Bootstrap. So our one's quite simple. When we hover something, we can see which one is the active one. Let's go back to our HTML file and let us change the look of our font. We'll go where it says nav and we will add something under class called lead. This will just change the font. Go back, press F5, and look, our font changed a little neater. So cool, things are coming together. Let's go back. we can see that our Jumbotron is complete. Jumbotron is done. Let me just make sure everything's done. No, it's not. So below this A tag, I will create a block quote tag. I'll pass in the class of block quote. Block quote, that's right. And I'll pass in a let's do margin top of 2. Within my block quote, I will do a P with a class of background body, tertiary to change the color. That's fine. And I will also do a text center. As it sounds, that's what it does. It will center the text. And I will pass in your feeble skills are no match for the power of the dark side. No exclamation mark, just a full stop, because that's all it is. I'll then create a footer and pass in a class of block quote, not quite, quote, Quote, block quote footer. And I will say emperor site with a title equal to Sheev Palpatine, and I will close it off. And within that, I will also pass in Sheev Palpatine. I shall save everything. I will just give myself some space down here. That's good. Navigate back to the site. Hit F5. And there we go. That is not the intended effect. It should be on the left, right? So I should not pass in text center. That could be the big mistake. Oh yeah, because it should actually be text large start. No. Block quote class. Oh, because I messed it up. Okay, so this should actually be removed. And this should just have a margin bottom of 2, I believe. Come back here. Hit F5. There we go. Much better. So your feeble skills are no match for the power of the dark side. It appears as though it's a quote by us using the block quote and passing in site tag. Cool. Things are coming together. I'm actually going to increase the margin top. So margin MY4. Let's do a margin bottom of 4. Save everything. Okay, that's good. Yeah, more space to work with. The last thing we will do is we will now create a very simple footer. So here our Jumbotron ends. We need one more thing though. So after row, we will create a div with a class equal to, so div dot, I believe it's column md12 and column sm12. This will ensure our Jumbotron is also responsive. So we'll take that out. We will highlight everything that's not our row, so everything that is our jumbo, and we shall move it one forward by using tab. Then close it. What this does is it states that once we reach a screen size of minimum medium, our Jumbotron will occupy the entire row. As it comes down to a screen size of small, it will also occupy a size of 12 columns. Now that I'm thinking about it, is this redundant? Ah, never mind. It is what it is. We will then, in the same row, come down here. So outside that column, Yep, we shall create another div with a class of column medium 12 and column small 12. We will then create a footer with a class of background, body, tertiary, and here we shall actually pass in text center to center our text. Text large start MB2 MU2. These two seem to be in contradiction of each other. Let me just make sure once I'm done with it actually. Within that footer, I will go ahead and create a div with a class of text center with a p3 tag, with a p3 class that we shall pay attention to later. And within that div, I will create a p tag with a class of footer text. And I forget how to create the copyright sign, so I shall go to my site. I'll navigate here and I will just copy this, copy that, paste it in, and okay, this is what your site should look like. And then just below that, I will create a script tag. A script tag is how we use JavaScript in our website, in one of the many ways you can. Then I will reference my entire HTML document by calling document. I will do get element by ID, and I will pass in year. And year should actually be here. This is where we see year. It is up here. And we will do .inner HTML, and we'll do some code. It will be new date, so created in real time, dot get full year, and that should be it. And if we save this, go back to our site, hit F5, look at that, copyright Sheev Palpatine 2024 access with little JavaScript. Very simple site, created, fully responsive. Now obviously this is a gag. Your site would not look like this. It would be something more personal, like this one. Like here's a snippet on me, it's my name, some links, blah blah blah. You can message me, etc. etc. But this is just when you can get a working understanding of what you are doing. You now know how to modify this Jumbotron. You have a navigation bar. You know how to change your links. You have this little cool animation that pops up here, and you have your copyright. Let's go back. So now HTML, we are done. But we're not done with our styling. Not done. So let's now do a .p1 to access a class, as I said, .p1. And we can do something like color. Let's do that. And we'll just copy it. We'll paste it and we'll do p-2. Then we will do .name. And these are all classes that we already created below. So .name, if I do a control F and if I type name, here is name right there. It is within our h2 class. So under .name, we'll pass in a color, and it is from the color palette that I created earlier that I showed you. F7, F7, FF should be right. No, that does not seem right. F7, 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 FF. Okay, it is right. Pale purple, right? We'll do a font family. Now, let me show you how to grab fonts for your website. Navigate here, type in Google Fonts, go to Google Fonts, open up Google Fonts. find a font you like. Let's for fun say you like this. Everyone has the right of freedom of thought. Let's say you like this one. Nah, that's not cool. Let's go back to fonts. Let's look for something weird. Single day, right? Let's say you like this font. Navigate here where it says get font, get embedded code. You will copy this. It even tells you embedded code in the head of your HTML. So you copy it, go back to your site. This is the head tag. So in that tag, just create another comment and type in fonts, just so then you know, and paste it in. And now we can use the single day font. How do you use it? Well, that's also given to us. All we do is you copy that. Let's go here. And if we paste it here, all we can have to do now is copy this, Control X, paste it in there. I can get rid of that. I can save everything, and these 3 changes should appear in our website once we reload it. And there we go. We have this pale purple, and we have our text change right here. Let's go back to our website. That's not what I wanted to open. After .name, we will do .personal to grab the personal class and also make changes to that. It should be the exact same thing that's here, so I'll copy it and I will paste that there. I will do .end and I will do a border color of hashtag 59C9A5. Yeah, mint green, alright. That should change the button. Then button outline success. Hit Control F, just copy this, paste it in, and we'll find it, and here it is here. Button outline success. This is what the class is, and that's what we will be changing. Somewhere something is missing. Oh, here, okay. There we go. Button outline success. Pass in a color, and that color will be should be the same thing as this actually. So I can copy this, paste it there, close it off, color, font family. We have a lot of fonts available with us, so let's just choose the first one, save that, navigate back to our site, hit F5, and look at that. Changes. So we have this cool CSS up here, we have this color change, we have this font family change, and now watch. Look at that. Slight difference, but difference nevertheless. Now when we hover, we should change that. So let's do button outline success. And when I hover over the button, so I have to use the scope operator, hover, I will pass in a color of black. So my font color changes, so black. And I want my font family to be the same. So I can remove that. I can do a background color change. That background color should be this, should be this one. So hashtag that one, the white. Come here, reload it. Look at that. It changes. The text that was green becomes black and the background becomes white. Let us now change our button. We shall do a font family. Let's choose something that I have no idea. Let's just go with, let's go with that. We shall do a font optical sizing. I don't need any of that actually, because I'm using a different. Yeah, that's fine. I just change the font family. Let's do .bg body tertiary. TIARY tertiary. Background color should be the purple one, right? A color of black. A font family. Let's use the font family up here. Let's save everything. Navigate back to our site, hit F5, and now look, our button looks all good. Would you look at that? And hey, look, now our footer also stands out quite a bit. I actually want to change the font size. Font size, let's do 3 rem to ensure that it grows. Is that too much? Way too much. Let's do 1 rem. Okay, that seems fine. And our final change, we shall navigate to the top of our style sheet, and we will pass in body. Because it's not a class, it is a tag. We don't need to pass in the dot. We can just access it with the tag name, which in this case is body, and a background color of that light purple, which is called pale purple. Go back to our site and reload it, and would you look at that? Nice and simple. And we essentially created the same thing, although this one does look better because I had more time to sort things out. Starting on the left, we have a link that works. Starting on the right, we have this little cool CSS trick. We have an introduction that you obviously can edit on your own. We have a button that is also responsive, and this footer right here that's very simple and yet very elegant. If I use Ctrl-Shift-I, I open up the responsive tools to see how my site would look on different devices. Let's navigate to iPhone 14 Pro Max, and this is how it would look. Very nice. We shall save everything. We shall go back here. Now we should ask the question, how do we publish this website? Now, if you followed everything I said so far, you would have your GitHub account and you would have a repository called username.github.io. And in the comment section and the description of this video, I'll provide a link to a video that will show you how to get your website up and running. But all you can do in the meantime is navigate to your repositories, go to your .github.io repository, and just paste in or upload your file. And that video that I'll have in the description will show you what to do. And that is it for the first project, something very simple, very beginner friendly, and yet very fun, simple, and elegant. That is the end of this video. Bye bye.